Hi, Algebra 1. This is going to be the last of this unit. Well, there will be a review to work on, so make sure you double check this stuff on. So we're talking about a little bit more on exponents. So we do have these properties that we talked about. So this was one where this could have been something like 3 to the 5th times 3 to the 8th is equal to 3 to the 13th power, because you would add the exponents like same basis. Power to power we've already done. So this would be something like 3 to the 2nd to the 4th. You'd multiply the exponents, so you'd get 3 to the 8, but you have to make sure the base is the same. This one I refer to as the tug of war. So if you don't have any negative exponents at all, you'd have, like, say, x to the 10th over x to the 8th. Tug of war, top would win, so it would be x to the 2nd. Or if you had, say, x to the 5th over x to the 7th, tug of war, the bottom would win. And you'd have to have a 1 as a placeholder. So those are examples. We also talked about the zero exponent property. So anything raised to the 0 power other than 0, but we haven't talked about that. So if this was like 7 to the 0, it's equal to 1. Or if I had x to the 0, it's equal to 1. Or 200 raised to the 0 equals 1. Or if I had like something that has a big old quantity, something like that, raised to the 0 would be 1. And then we have the negative exponent power, where it wants to move from top to bottom or bottom to top. This one we talked about it. You distribute it, so if you had something like this, 3x to the 2nd, and it was raised to the 3rd power, the 3 goes here and here, so 3 to the 3rd becomes 27, because 3 times 3 times 3, and the x to the 2nd to the 3rd is going to be x to the 6th. And then same thing with this property. We would distribute it, and then if you had like terms, you would then do the tug of war of it. Okay, but we're going to focus more on this property, and again, we're talking about tug of war. And really what it is you're taking the two exponents, the top exponent, and you're subtracting it from the bottom exponent. Okay, so things like this could be 3 to the 7th over 3 to the 8th. So that's 3 to the 7 minus 8, so that becomes 3 to the negative 1, which then turns into 1 over 3. But I think the tug of war on this one works better. Who wins, top or bottom? Bottom by how many? 1. Okay, so 1 over 3 to the first is the same thing as 1/3. So that's just some thought on how you'd go through this. And then the zero product property would be, again, if we had some large, big ol', z to the 5th raised to the 0, like it's ridiculous big, it's to 1. Or other things that would happen is, if I had 5 to the x, or excuse me, 5 to the 0, that would be equal to 1. Or if I had x to the 0, y to the 3rd, it would become 1 times y to the 3rd, or just y to the 3rd. And then the negative exponent property. So this is the one that wants to move. So it either goes to the bottom or goes to the top. So some examples of this one would be like if I had 3 over x to the negative 2, the x to the negative 2 wants to move up, so you'd get 3x squared. Notice the 3 stays up there. Or if I had, say, something like this, 5x to the negative 2, the x on this one would want to move down. And it's just the x that moves down. It's whatever has the negative exponent that would move down. And then this big distributive over, let's say you had 5 over x, and then it was raised to the 3rd power. This would become 5 to the 3rd over x to the 3rd. And of course, you could go 5 times 5 times 5 to get 125 over x to the 3rd. So take a look on Schoology. Do any of the things that look like some sort of puzzle. Okay, some sort of awkward shape. Okay, they kind of look like, I don't know, like this. You guys know that my artistic skills aren't the best, but it looks like a puzzle piece. So make sure those are done, and go back and take a look at all the assignments. Make sure you've done those on this online. So make sure your grade can continue to move up. Okay. But again, make sure you're doing it well. Some of you are turning in, submitting things, and you're getting a 1.5 out of 10. That's a 1.5 out of 10. So that's moving down your grade. Of course, your C3 grade is secure, so it won't move below that. But some of you have moved from like a 78 up to an 80. Your C3 grade was a 78, and now you've done really poorly, and so it moved back down to a C. So make sure you're doing this all appropriately, okay? Take care of one another. Have a great day.